It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are. And like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and dreamers. We are restless believers.
Good morning, evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail of Gaia, and this is Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas, and we have wonderful guests. And I have a wonderful guest today who is going to give us the information that she has gotten regarding future predictions. And everybody always wants to know that, don't we? So let me bring on Miss Jenny Lee. And again, she's a psychic medium, a remote viewer. Oh, I can't talk. She does a little bit of it all. So it's really awesome. So thank you, Jenny. Welcome.
Hey.
I guess I got tongue-tied today.
That's okay. We're good. It'll still work.
That happens every now and then.
It's always technology.
But anyway.
With me. It's just every time. It doesn't matter if everything's in order. It just seems like it's always that problem.
Something, yeah, some kind of issue. And there's been a lot more of that lately.
Right. It's just things are changing.
Oh, my goodness. Yes.
It's crazy.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Completely.
It is. Well, one of the things that we had spoke of earlier was that you have some predictions about the future going forward.
Yeah, and I think it's constant what's going on. I mean, it seems like the downloads are been crazy lately. So
yeah, trying to get the truth out there, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just all the time. You had predictions like weekly and then monthly, and now we're just like, it's happening so fast that you just kind of hold on to your feet on the situation.
Well, time's flying. I mean, we're in April already.
Right. I think one of the ones the other day that I was kind of shocked by, but I was shocked by when they showed me that Ruby Lake in Antarctica, and I was like, what? And then that came true. And then they showed me this. They're like the volcanoes in Antarctica. And I'm like, what? And they're like, they're going to go off. And I'm like, which kind of makes sense with everything going on right now, So they're saying one in Europe and one in Antarctica. And I am thinking, God, I haven't heard of one going off in Antarctica forever.
No, I've never heard of one going off in Antarctica.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of think that's a frozen over place.
Well, I can see it happening at this time and what's going on with the earth. Yeah, I can. So I'm just sitting there going, okay, we'll see what happens. So I would think if something like that happens, it would definitely open up a big can of worms, what's underneath Antarctica. So I think it's just the top layer of things that will expose on that situation. But they also have been telling me, and this is, I think it's a hard concept for people to look at and say that. And they're like, take a pyramid, put it upside down and put another pyramid upside down. And I'm like, yeah. He goes, do you think you're on the right side of the pyramid? Or do you think you're actually the one that's below? And I had to think about that because we don't know that. We don't know. Honestly, we do not know, right? What if we are the ones that are below and everybody else is on top? It makes you wonder because of our atmosphere, how things are. But I'm a flat earth person, and I've analyzed that to death through the concept of what they've showed me.
There's very convincing evidence that I've seen, but
I
don't even like to go there because people go ballistic about it.
I know, because it's such a. But it's
well, doesn't protest too much.
Too much. That's too much of a lie, So, but the thing is when I do remote viewing, and I didn't believe that until they showed me, a tree at the bottom of our world, right here, and the flat part of it. So the thing is, it's hard for people to believe that, but we have to relearn everything because we cannot trust what we've been taught, because all of it has been a lie, and you have to relearn things by seeing it with your two eyes and doing your own research. And it's not like the facts of Googling it and finding that there. You have to go back to the libraries, you have to do research, you have to read books, you have to look at maps. You're going to have to do the hard work.
Some people don't have the means to be able to do that, though, and that's kind of sad.
Well, yeah, true, but
there are ways, but all they have to do is have a phone, and they can watch videos and still learn a lot.
Right. So I just think we're at a point where everything that I said that is below us, or whether above us, is surfacing. It's coming to the surface, and that's what Trump said too. Everything's going to come to the surface. It is, and our history is coming to the surface, and I think it was Miami. There was an area that they stopped all construction because of what they found underneath the ground. And I haven't gotten all the details of that yet. I had a friend that was supposed to dig that up, but everything is changing. And so to sit back and say, okay, I have to look at things myself. I have to research things a different way, and I have to step back and go, forget about what I've been taught.
Yeah, you have to kind of wipe the slate clean and be willing to relearn.
You have to, because and that's why everything seems confusing, because it never gets to a simple answer. It's all about, the program is about to confuse you and never have an exact answer across the board.
Right.
When it's there.
And throw out all kinds of disinformation to have to sort through.
Right. And I saw on actually TikTok, there was this gal that went into Antarctica, and they went through a building, as you can go through the building sometimes in Antarctica. Mm-hmm. And then on the poster wall, they were showing flat Earth pictures. And I was like, well, that's a dead giveaway. Why would they have that in there? But yeah.
Well, they would probably tell you because those people were primitive, even though they weren't.
Right. Primitive. Yeah. So, and that's the thing, is they're slowly exposing things, but not overly exposing it in the situations. Just like, the weather, when I was doing these maps for Louisiana and Texas, and when I started channeling the information, people thought, it doesn't mean it's right now. And they were saying, we're going in it to this month, that there's going to be tons of flooding. I mean, tons. And this was the Louisiana map. They had it, and they say that this will not come back. Oh, this is going to be underground for a long time. That it.
Is there much population there?
Yeah, there is. And then that the actual line of how far the water is going to come up is going to be up to this level. So it's crazy how much it's going to show up to here. You know how I am about predictions and weather. Somehow I hit the target on that stuff. So the thing is, Louisiana is one that you're probably going to see the most saturated, and that's why they're paying attention to that and being specific about that, because of the level of the water. You're going to be really able to see that and notice that.
That's an important point. Yes. Port area.
Right.
Tree.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then again with Texas, people wanted to know, and I got with Texas with this one. This one was just, in this area right here, you had the flood area going like, sorry, let me get closer.
I'm going to go off the screen so it'll be bigger.
Yeah. So the flood area goes right up here, you know, and then up here you got just some flooding, not as much as you down here, but this is going to stay saturated for a while too. So it's going to be pretty bad. So all these in here will be flooded for a while, and then this is the flood line that goes up. So it'll be a while on those areas.
So that flooding, you're not talking about flooding in the California area or the East Coast
well,
area.
No, I mean, specifically right now, because they're saying these are areas that they weren't talking about, and they're saying, keep your eye on Louisiana. Keep your eye on Louisiana, because that's going to show you how high that water's going to rise. And then in Texas, you know, you're going to see the flooding, but it's not going to be as severe as Louisiana. But then they showed me the Keys. They said specifically the Keys in Florida. So you're going to have an area in the Keys, and I haven't had time to draw the Keys, but yeah, it's going to be saturated water. So you're looking this spring, and they were specific on the spring, and we're talking nationally. You're going to see a lot of flooding that you have not seen, and I'm thinking through the Mississippi and the Dakotas.
Well, look at what happened in the Sierra Mountains in California. They got so much, they never got that much snow ever before. And they said that every bit of that snow will melt.
Yeah, it'll melt.
It does every year. And they had, I mean, I don't remember how many feet, but it was a lot.
I mean, there's like probably 30 feet there.
Yeah, it was insane, an insane amount.
So
really.
the damage, the thing that people don't understand under ice, when that melts, you're going to actually see the structure damage what snow can do. I've seen what it.
Oh my goodness, I have it right here on my patio. We got a what did they call it? A squall or something like. We had a day. It was bizarre. It never happened since I've been here until just a couple, about a month or so ago. And it snowed so much, and the snow became so heavy that I have it right off my patio in the apartment here, and it's totally broken, from the weight of the snow as it was melting. So it does do damage, just like you said. And there's a bunch of branches and other places where trees have been damaged as a result of that heavy of a snow once it starts melting.
Right. And so I think with these storms are the part of the storm. And I think there's a lot of stuff happening above us, but I think things are happening in different layers. People think, okay, there's a storm and that's it. And I'm like, nope, I think there's layers of storms in different understandings that this is happening that we're not seeing because I notice once a storm goes away, it's pretty clear, it's quiet, and then all of a sudden it starts up again. And then a lot of people are hearing different sounds, frequency sounds, and people are starting to see plasma too come to the ground and doing electrical charges and stuff like that too. So there's stuff happening. And that's why I think these storms, if you had to look like you look at soil in layers, I believe there's activity in layers in these storms.
Now, do you believe that the weather is manipulated?
Yes, especially this season. Okay, yeah, this is not normal. And, this is, if you wanted to clear something out, and this is the thing too, all these, when these railroad crashes were happening, I always look.
Probably will continue.
Mm-hmm. Well, many places. We've had it in Minnesota and all that stuff too. But to me, they're very good at camouflaging one event for other things happening.
Yes.
So I believe that that's part of it too. And that some of the contamination and how far they're pushing that. And so I would ask yourself, what's really going on in Ohio? What is really happening there? You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I believe they want to confiscate the land because it's contaminated and call eminent domain.
Right.
Government takes it over.
But though that type of government,
and then Bill Gates will probably buy it up.
Yeah, well, he's gone. So
something like that. Well, that's good, but there's still somebody out there playing him.
Yeah, well, Those are puppets.
Unfortunately. But anyway.
So I don't think, that's going to happen. And I just think, like I said, I think there's stuff like, again, in layers what's going on is underneath. To get in those areas, if you think about the areas that they're hitting are areas, they're rural areas in some suburb areas and where they have a lot of stuff going on. But, you're not seeing this in the most richest areas. You understand?
Oh, isn't that convenient? Yeah.
So I'm just saying there's everything is happening in layers. And, we're taught that, if it's a storm, it's that one storm and that's it. There's many layers of what's going on. Yeah. And so I think that we'll look at things pulling back the banana on things is New York. New York that one is going to be exposed when a storm comes through there. This is what's going to prove my point on this. When a storm hits that area, and I think it's going to be some flooding with wind and all that stuff, but just enough to do what they need to do there. But then again, you'll see the military in that area with the white buses, black windows. So New York is going to be that city you're going to have to pay attention to. It's going to be the example of what's going on. And I think I talked to...
I think that's going to be going on in Arizona too at some point.
Yeah. Well, I have a friend, her name's Jeanette, and she told me tonight she's talking to her sister, and it just is not sinking in. They don't get it. They're in this la land that's like, they believe Biden, they believe the whole process, everything, and but when you say
anybody can believe anything that he says, or even
I know
feel that, how can you? Are they not seeing what I'm seeing?
I know. But the thing is, you're going against the programming.
They're programmed. That's what the problem is.
In their mindset level that they don't have a form to compute it, to understand it, and it goes against their programming. So they're going to act like it does not exist, and they flip it. They flip the mirror. For what they are, they'll call you that. That's their programming to do that. Let's flip it the other way, because we have no answer for that. We don't have to be honest. We just have to find another distraction and lead it a different direction. That's what they're doing. So New York, it's one of those things that when that happens, people are going to have to be locked up in their apartments and skyscrapers for a while. And
that's why
even at that,
talking about military law, martial law.
Yeah. Right. They think that this is like a normal storm that's just going to go through and it's going to be over. It's just like California. They think when they had the earthquakes, like I said, the way they had them, that everything's going to be fine and it's just going to go away. It's not going to go away. It's going to keep doing this. And this is going to resurface storm that's going to keep coming and coming and coming. And it's not going to stop till everything is done completely. So
what do you mean by everything done? Everything done by the bad guys, or everything done?
No, everything done with the ones that need to clear out the areas. And but
like the underground bases,
part of that. I mean, when you push the enemy into a corner, there's only so many holes they can hide from, but they do find those holes. Yeah. And the only way that you can get them out is you have to entrap them or put them in a corner. And that's where we're at. The cities, democratic cities, are the corners. They are the corners that the rat is going to be trapped in. And eventually they have to surface. And that's what's going to happen.
There is somebody go ahead. Somebody's asking a question. I was just going to put it up, but if you got something to say, finish what you're saying, and then I'll put it up.
No, go ahead.
One I want. This one here. Yeah. Everyone in DC knows that's not the real Biden. Why aren't they calling that out and demanding DNA tests on that imposter? He must be part of a movie for everyone to play along. What's
funny is,
why are they doing that? I mean, it's
because,
a good question.
to really show you this is not a reality. I mean, if you had to pick an actor, you have to look so dumb, you have to look so ignorant, screw up so much. You know what I'm saying? You have to be
That's
an
what
actor.
he's doing.
Yes,
Yeah.
doing his job of acting, but the mindset, level of concept, what they do, they look at that and then they make an excuse in their mind for
Because
it.
it just can't believe it because it's cognitive
Yes,
dissonance.
exactly, but they won't even deal with it head on. Again, programming and narcissism. We have gone into a narcissistic society.
The programming runs deep in these ones.
Yes, it does.
Oh my gosh.
It really does. It's crazy.
Well,
Yeah, so that's part of the problem with the possibility that this is never going to come to reality. Just say they cut everything off, and we're in the 10-day process. I'm going to tell you, a lot of these people are going to hide in their rooms and they're going to tell you, don't talk about it. Don't bring it up. I don't want to hear about it. That's another line of denial. They're going to do that.
That's true.
And then to the point when you have to face the truth, then you're going to see them lose their minds. Then you're going to see it,
Well, here's the other aspect, and I'm going to be very careful because I'm on YouTube, but part of the people that went along with the program, and you know what I'm talking about, also there is talk about it affecting the frontal lobe in time to the extent that you lose the ability to think critically.
Yes.
Or it's bad.
It is. And it does do that because it's almost like they're losing the soul.
Well, very
That's
much
the way
like
I see
that.
it. Yes.
I've had energy work this way back a couple of years ago when this all first started. They knew somebody before the program, and then after the program, they noticed the changes. And the more time that passed, the more distance, more separation that occurred. It's really sad.
Well, you're seeing it now. The men, it's honestly, I believe it's making men like feminine. They're losing their gonads.
Yeah.
They are.
Where are the brave men?
In the young generation, but you're seeing it in the older generation too. I'm like, what is happening?
Well, some people blame it on the chemicals.
I can't blame it all on it. It's programming, but also a thing. If
that too, yeah.
You went down the street in the 1950s and you saw a crime, you would have so many people helping. These days, they will look the other way and act like I don't want to get involved. And that tells you how much it's deteriorated a person as them being a part of their soul. Look in New York. They have crimes everywhere now, and people are not even fazed about it no more. They don't want to get involved. And that just tells you how that whole city is becoming just this program. It's a concentration camp that does have no fence.
Is this going to be like where there's going to be this separation that we've talked about in the past, where some people are going to be here and some people are going to be here, because somebody's saying right there, people have no compassion anymore, and that is really true.
Right.
I think that is lost if you lose your soul, you're going to lose your compassion.
Yeah. When you lose your sense of kids suffering and you can turn the other cheek
and look the other way,
you're lost. You're already lost. You're beyond that. Because if you can't look at the consideration of saving children, there's nothing left for humanity and nature and all of it. Because nature, animals, mammals, all of them have that compassion about their young ones. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they protect their young.
Yeah, exactly. And the mammals and animals have more compassion than you see these days of these humans and how they treat their children and what they do to their children. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's shocking. It's
It is
it's
downright
almost really
shocking.
embarrassing for humanity to go, gosh, this is so bad. So bad. It is.
But they're going to have to look. They're going to have to see.
They're going to be in
Or,
denial looking.
yeah.
But, that's what we have the Walmart psych wards for.
Walmart's like, that's a good one, Jenny. Here, let me put this one up. Short order, comedy. Short. That's cool. Anyway, it says there's a real difference. Where are the songs? Where are the leaders? Where's the response and the camaraderie? Where's the rationale? Where are the answers? They aren't there this time around. It's like, what happens to Americans?
Well, okay, you look at the Europeans, you look where everybody else in the other countries are standing up. They're taking out all these corporations, and they have gonads. They've had enough. Well, America hasn't gotten to the point. They're still feeling too cushiony to get up off their couch and do something. Yeah. You know what? Take their damn internet away. Take their internet away. I'm telling you.
Take the TV
when they don't have
away.
those livelihoods of those things, they're going to start to think on their own and process on their own. But they're just catered to too much. And this is something that needs to happen.
I wouldn't be able to do any more shows, Jenny.
Well, reality needs to be there.
I could work on myself.
So,
anyway.
And that's the thing. It's just war heroes, veterans, all that stuff. I mean, they're out there, but they're still in this circle of, and this younger generation is, people don't even want to hire them because they don't get it. They don't get the work ethic. They don't get, you got to put time into things. They just want things. It's so narcissistic in that process of.
I always remind people when we see those, what we consider character flaws, to remember that they also have been the most shot up, shall we say, by the time they're a teenager, so than any of us have ever even come close to having.
Right. And their parents were there handing them over.
Big part of the problem right there, because both parents got to be busy trying to keep the rent paid, food on the table, and stuff like that. I mean, I feel for people because I know how much it takes nowadays, and it's just going up and it's getting worse. Now what are Americans going to do then? We're going to have more and more home. Every year that I've been here, they have raised my rent. Now I got a $71 increase on my Social Security and $100 increase in my rent. And we don't even talk about the food and gas. So I don't even know how long I'm going to be able to keep doing this at this rate. So anyway, it's very concerning, and I know I'm not the only one.
Right. Exactly.
There are people in this town, and when I got here, there wasn't this problem, but there are people homeless here now. There weren't homeless here 3 years ago. There were not homeless. There's homeless now.
Right. Exactly. But that's the thing. It's just like it's knocking everybody down. And at a point, there's this voice inside that resides with the soul that says, enough.
Yeah.
Can't you see the corruption? Can't you see that this is where you stand up and say something?
Yes.
Instead of suppressing your voice? Enough.
You got to be brave. You got to have courage.
Yes, you do. And so, we're at that point, that brink.
Yes. And I'm going to say, you are Americans. Do you hear me? Do something. I'm serious, though, really. I mean, we should have that rebel gene in our blood, just like Karen Cassidy says. That's what when we came here, that's what we did. And it seems like we've lost that. And like you said, and then we have the feminization of our men. And what are they doing to stop? There are different chemicals that they allow in America that's not allowed in Europe.
Right.
In America, still fluoridates their water, where they have to wear hazmat suits in order to put it in the water. Doesn't anybody think, like, Why would you have to wear a hazmat suit for something you're putting in our drinking water?
Right.
You know, and there's so many studies out there now about it lowering people's intelligence, and especially in children. And so on, it's a neurotoxin, and we're still dealing with people putting it in the municipal water supply. Wrong.
Exactly.
And that's why people need to stand up about things all over like that. We need to go down to the very local level, even with, you know, what's going on in hospitals, what's going on in clinics.
Well, the biggest,
and start calling them
I would
out on
say the biggest trap is your education system. What I would tell everybody right now, pull your kids from your education program.
Oh, I agree.
All of
Yeah.
them.
Public school. Oh my God.
Want to do something right and you have power to do it, take them out of the education system. It is a grooming program. That's all it is. They're not educating. Plus, right now, I mean, history and science and math, it's wrong anyway. I mean, you just need to wait for the restart button. Just educate your kids at home and do it that way, because you're just giving them power over your kids, and that's all they want is more power. Even the people on the school board, they sit there like zombies, like they are taught, programmed, and told. You sit there like a dumb idiot. I don't care if they scream at you or yell at you, but you're just going to deny it. Does that not tell you that's not a human?
Or it is now a soulless one.
Yes.
NPC, not non-person character.
Well, I will bring up a friend of mine in Georgia called me the other day, and they on the news, you will see that they said that they found 3 kids with trafficking. The police were involved. The governor was involved. My friend was involved in this, and her daughter blew the whistle on them, and she had the phone. And it's deep, you know. And I said the Masons are going to go down. The Masons are going to go down because they're all attached to this whole program with this situation, and that's what's going on. And it just takes that, you know. So they arrested almost the whole police department.
I think I read about that. Yeah, that was amazing. Yes. And I think there's a lot more of that. I think that's very prevalent in California.
And I told her,
in LA.
I said, don't give them the phone until they put you under protection, and they haven't done that with her yet.
Yes, that's what's where people don't even have some place they can go.
Well, we don't have the money. Well, who cares? And I said, don't give them nothing until you get something.
Wow. Well, it's just like, I don't know if you're aware of this, but the badges for the police and sheriff in LA actually has the symbol.
Masons.
You know, yeah. Well, the child lover symbol.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it's a basically it's a pedo
Gross.
symbol. Yeah. Unbelievable. But I've got pictures. Anyway.
Not good. That's not good. But yeah, I mean, it's you want to see more of that. You want to see more of it. I mean, a lot of the cases that I work on, and I've done cases where I've called the BCA and said, this is the area, this is what's happening, and the next day the house is burned down. I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, we know that you're corrupted.
Yeah.
They want nothing. I mean, it's just, they're the problem of Chance Eagleberg's case. That cop in that town is the most filthy, dirty cop that's doing the investigation. And he sits more on TikTok than he does his own job. I mean, it's narcissism to the extent, and they're like, we're not going to get caught.
Well, that they've been getting away with it for so long. They're overconfident.
Right.
They're overconfident. And they're going to go down though. They are. I just know it. Now, here, have you ever noticed, and people need to notice this too, when does Congress ever talk about child trafficking?
Doesn't.
Ever. It's because they're all involved. well, I shouldn't say that on this channel, but it is what it is.
I'm about to say, yeah. So, I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, people don't understand it's in every community.
Yep.
There's not a community that it's not affected. Everything. They were just very good at doing it for such a long time, and they've gotten away with it.
And we've been so blind
Yeah.
to it. Remember when they used to have children on milk cartons?
Yeah, not no more.
They just stopped doing
No.
it.
Nope, they don't want attention.
But and it's not like they stopped going missing.
Right.
They're probably even missing more now than they did that.
Right. Exactly. So I mean, and bringing all that down and dismantling it, and that's where this is what people don't understand. That the lower, what the Hollywoods put on their eye, the lower one, the upper one, the upper Illuminati is taking down the lower Illuminati. People don't understand that. That's what's happening.
Oh, you mean
right
throwing
now.
the lower level ones under the bus, basically? So they
No,
survive,
they have always been separated in a big level of understanding.
Oh, okay.
There has been, but they make it look like it's all together, but it's not. There's a complete difference on the higher and lower, and you get to a point, everything's so corrupted, you have to even take out your own.
Wow.
So I'm just saying, there's some societies that are giving it up and saying, okay, we'll help you take them down. You're seeing that.
Yeah, that's what we hear a lot about that, and I just hope it's true, because the evidence hasn't come out. But the evidence isn't going to come out on MSM until it's completely taken over.
Well, MSM is just going to go down, and it's never going to come back. You're never going to hear it on MSN. You're never going to hear it on CNN, because they will go down. They'll never come back. They'll
never come back. It won't be a change in management or anything like that.
Well, it's not even that. That whole broadcast will be taken over by a whole different institution.
And with a different name and the whole thing.
Yes. Right? They're never
yeah.
CNN. Okay. Just give an example. Do you really think still at this point, if CNN said anything correctly, you would still not believe them? Do you understand? With that name, you're never going to believe what they say. But what
anymore for the reputation that they developed.
So you're going to need they have to go back to journalism. Journalism.
Real journalism.
Yes, real journalism. And display it in that way of things. You know.
Yeah. It's not we write what you say.
Right. Exactly. So these new journalists, I would call them, that are going to display that, and they're at the surface. Those are the ones everybody hates, but they're there. And once those take over the broadcasting systems, that's what I'm telling you is going to happen. We have to go back to true information. You have to go back to seeing the broadcasters right in the mix of things, not in some studio. They need to be out there completely, and not adding actors for every event they make up.
Well, and then they would use pictures, bogus pictures. They weren't even part of what actually happened, and say that that's what happened, and it's a totally different place.
Exactly.
Thing like that, you know.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it is.
Do you know this? Here's a question for you. What do you both think of the new respect bill? I'm not sure I know what that is.
I don't even know what it is either.
My guess, I'll just guess, it's probably some bill that has something to do with this transgender movement. I wouldn't doubt it. But anyway, here's another one. Now, I didn't hear anything about this. Is it true about the Schumann resonance is 200 hertz?
I heard that, and I saw that, and that was crazy.
Was that the one where it was just, I mean, it looked like something I'd never seen before, actually.
Yeah,
don't
but
remember
also
what
they're taking down, if you notice in the other countries, they're taking down harps, towers. They're dismantling them.
the communication towers. Are you talking about? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yes, because they're not.
They're burning them to the ground.
That's a good thing. Where? Here in America?
There was another country that they was
Oh,
doing it. Yeah.
yeah. Well, yeah, we have. I can't talk about it. Have to talk. I have to be on an uncensored channel to talk about that. So we'll just pass on that. But if you do a little research, you'll find out quite readily what we're talking about. Because there are, if you go to BitChute, Rumble, or Odyssey, there are people out there who are talking about it, and you really need to look into it.
Right.
Because it's
Exactly.
very.
It is. So people get to the point where they see the only way to save our world is to burn it to the ground, burn these evil societies to the ground, and say we have to start over. Because we do. We have to start over.
There's no saving it. It's too corrupted.
Uh-huh.
So it's collapsing. It is collapsing.
Exactly. It needs to. So as I say, if it burns to the ground, walk through the fire smiling, go, at least we're starting over, and at least it's gone, and we can work from that point.
And at least now we can deal with truth going forward.
Yes, exactly. And that's the thing. If you saw something like that, and if you put yourself in that situation in your neighborhood and just say everything got obliterated, you see how the focus of humanity changes. They focus on each other. They focus on concern of caring for another. It's like when the program's down.
Celebrate the start of the week.
Then the truth, their true intentions start to surface and understand what has to be done to change this world. So,
yeah, the focus, that's a big, because right now everybody's, with this in their face most of the time.
Right,
of course,
exactly.
Or in front of a computer. I'm guilty there myself. So anyway, okay, I guess they're just saying that, not the respect bill. I was wondering, okay, the Restrict Act. Now, I'm not familiar with that either, so you'll have to, if you want us to respond.
If that gets on mainstream media, I don't watch it, so I wouldn't know.
I don't either, so I don't know.
If that's a 3D program, it's probably not real. Can we expect an Easter surprise? Yeah. Money, that's what I'd say it would be. And I mean in the way of the steps of it changing.
Financial relief or financial hardship?
Tier 1, no, not hardship, but relief coming in processing. It's in, say, 5 levels, and I say 2 levels are done.
Oh, good. Okay, so we're getting closer to the average bear, so to speak.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good to hear that.
Right. I think there's still there's a lot of like I say, I tell everybody to look at what's going on. You can always go back to do it, trail the money, trail the advertising, because you're going to find what it's connected to. And when they do that, then they're shocked. And that's the thing about it, is you've got to do your research and find out who they're working for.
Yeah, that tells you a lot. Just like I used to say, when you look at research, one of the things you always have to look at, who funded it and the methodology. Those two things are critical.
Yeah, they are.
So can you talk about silver and gold?
So I've always said that those are going to be strong strengths in the market. They're going to stay strong for a long, 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 long time. And that's not going to change. Like I said, something that's going to format to the new quantum system, gold and silver it's always going to stay steady on that path. The other stuff that comes in from a 3D program and wants to adapt what they feel is the value of money. That's not, because they made it. And it doesn't mean it's going to go into that new system. You would like to, just like I call it instead of, all this drama with the trans and pushing that on children. And I'm like, trans are the new Karens, because they're shoving it in your throat and won't leave the kids alone. I think it's great. I'm sorry, I'm going to talk about this. I think it's great. You don't feel like you're a part of the vessel when you're born and say, this has to fit the outside. That's fine. But each kid at each age needs to go through it their way and not be shoved in their face. So that's one thing you're seeing a big agenda on, because that's about stopping population, stopping. They want to stop three generations of never having children again and stopping it completely. And that's what that's about. So, and
they're doing a good job of it. I'll tell you what, because the
they are, and
infertility rates are skyrocketing.
Yeah. And they want to shove it in your face. And I'm just like, they're the Karens, and
yeah.
And it's not even the name of Karen. It's just the energy and the attitude behind it, of the complete narcissism. And so that, to me, because it's going to have a problem with that, because you get people to a certain sense of things, that they're not ready, and then they go nutso. But you're seeing it on the trans end, but you're going to see it on the other end too. And I think on the other end, it's going to get worse, because and that's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid that kids and people will get killed over this decision that they're embracing and putting in your face so strong that people are resisting it so much. They're going to resist it and push back from it, because they're going to react in the wrong way. And they're going to react in an emotional way. They're going to react in a gun way. And I'm just telling you, on both ends of it, they're agonizing each other, taunting each other. And I just feel this whole process, and I think if I had to say anything to the trans community, I'd say, listen, I know you don't quite feel female, and I know you don't quite feel female. So I said, why don't you just take something, a word that you feel normal in, and use it and make it your own? That's what I say. That they feel normal about. Do you know what I'm saying? Are you there?
Yes. I just I had myself muted. I had to unmute.
So, and I believe that will solve the problem of not forcing it into a woman's issue and not forcing it into a male's issue, because they feel kind of completely both in sometimes. And some kids that have had the transition, they want to go back, that have had it. And so that tells you it's not a woman or a man thing. It is a complete identification of who they are.
Well, I think the chief psychiatrist at Johns Hopkins and people were really, really super upset with him. Came out and said it's a mental disorder. So,
yep.
Because
we're forcing one way or another, and it's just not right.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so I just don't want it forced onto kids when they're not ready to make those decisions.
No, and that, can you believe we're talking about allowing them to go through a decision without their parents even knowing about it. That is criminal right there. They won't let you drink until you're 18 or smoke or any of that, but you can change your gender when you're, without telling. I mean, are you serious? Get real. Anyway.
Yeah, so it's a touchy subject right now, but yeah.
Yeah, it is very touchy. I think a strong detox program would probably be a real good idea. But anyway, so someone is saying there's a lot of Gasara and Asara signs. A lot of countries are in the Golden Age system already, and I would say that's true. And I heard along the way we will be one of the last ones.
Yeah. Can you see why? You know,
Well, we've already had it better
limited
than
veil of understanding.
Yeah, it's almost. How do I say this without insulting everybody? It's very disturbing to me, the apathy that I see amongst Americans.
Uh-huh.
Not everybody. I mean, there are some people that have been standing up. There are some people that have confronted the school boards, but there's not enough. More people should feel a duty to get out there and do something, anything. There's so much because it all starts at the local level.
Well, I think Americans need to grow some gonads. Is what they need to do. Go back to growing.
Yeah.
Those.
What happened to the ones that they used to have?
Well,
I mean, these people that started the founding fathers of this country were just young whippers, you could say. Seriously. I mean, they were in their late teens, from what I understand. So come on.
Yeah, it's
how do we get that back?
Yeah, it's delusional. Very delusional. So yeah, I mean, and then when this doll does crumble to a certain point, I mean, don't think that those ones are going to stand up either, though. That are really on that other obstacle of the left. They're going to sit in misery and not do anything and take medication. They're not going to do anything. That's where people think if they watch this video, then they're going to wake up. No, they're not. Some of them are not going. That's not going to happen. It's a process to accept change. It's a process to get to that point. And then you do have the process of mental breakdown from the situation of acceptance. But it is going to be a process. Denial is going to be the first thing that happens. Denial.
Yeah. And there's steps to that. It's denial, and then I remember what they are, but it goes through stages, and it's.
I just think back. You go back and go, do aliens have these issues? Well, I can't decide today if I'm going to be a male or a female alien. I don't think that's the problem on the other side over there. But I think they must look at us and go, "You people scare the shit out of us." And
I know.
And what you do, and what you do to your animals, and how you treat your animals, and that whole humanity thing. It's just scary. It's freaking scary.
It is. It really is. That's a good point. This is I don't know if I would say the apathy is a worldwide disease. I think they are also measuring the type of resistance they are up against. And apathy is a worldwide disease. They have loaded people up with fear. But actually, truthfully, France is burning. A lot of places in Europe there are people standing up all over. You're not going to see it on mass media. So unless you do research on, say, like Telegram or some of these other platforms that don't censor everything out there, you'll see that people are out in the streets, but not in America.
I think we're down to just and I honestly, I know people feel this way, and I'm to a point, I'm getting so sick of seeing lies on the media. You just want to go up and punch them. You would just.
Oh, I know. Same with, when I see the fake guy up there, I can't even look. I don't even want to see. It's embarrassing.
Remember, I told you, I said, people are going to know the truth about him is when he is sitting on the floor in front of the White House and rubbing his butt like a dog. Dogs get worms. I'm sorry. You think they're good at that? No, maybe. That's what it is.
Do you think that will wake people up, or what? I don't know.
I don't think something's quite wrong with him. Do you, dear? Oh, I think so too. I don't think he's right in the head. You think?
Really? Oh, she's saying, I know. Okay, I'll put this one up here because I think I know David Straight too. They're talking about he's helping the cause to restore the republic and has 20 million state national. There's someone in Arizona doing the same thing too, because I'm a state national. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic of discussion, but I know who you're talking about.
Oh, you're talking about guys with balls.
David Straight, yeah. And yeah, there's a few out there. They're hard to come by, it seems. I don't know. I'm just imagining. And when I see one with some with a mask on, I just go, "Oh my God."
Yep.
Or in the car with one on. That's even worse.
Yeah, but
Oh.
they're in their own world, seeing things in a different view, and they can't even perceive how you don't go by these laws. And
Like
you're
you're the bad guy.
yeah, exactly. And the thing is, like in the store or anywhere public, and because I'm out in the country, and I'm glad to be anywhere public. It hasn't happened in front of me or anything around me or something like that, because that trueness voice would just come out. It would, oh yeah, it's there.
Well, you're nice and direct, so.
Yeah.
Well, are there any other predictions in any particular areas that you're
like, the state of California, people want to know when it's going to get better. It's not going to get better. It's going to keep having this reoccurrence of a situation of the downfall, the dismantling phase of the cities and the outer areas, and what's safe in California, more of your farmland, your past your suburban areas. Get clearly away from the oceans. That's going to come down to a deterioration point and a consistent deterioration. But like I said, be looking for bridges in the United States and buildings coming down. Bridges and buildings, because they always like to set an example or dismantle something, and it gets a person's attention and the people's attention on things. So that's what I see part of this process. And say big corporations that decide that they said they were helping your health and are actually not, and expect to see those buildings in that way too. The core of the soul, when it gets to the reality point, it gets to a survival point of deteriorating, burning, and starting over. And that's what's going to happen. But I do think some of these corporations will burn their own building.
If I can't have it, you won't have it either, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, in Antarctica, when you were talking about that, what you mentioned Ruby Lake, what's happening under Ruby Lake? And if there's volcanoes there, does that mean there's going to be a lot of ice melting?
Well, remember with the Ruby Lake, it was always like this when I did the drawing. And then I did another drawing showing that the levels of it. The levels were ice on top of it, 3 pyramids behind, volcanoes underneath it. So this is like hot and cold working together and forming this. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
And then, because when I got it, I was just like, okay, whatever, spirit. And then I went back and I said it on YouTube. I said, go look, tell me if you could find it. And I had a fan that actually found it. She goes, it's right here. So even at my point, I was like, what? And not only it was marked Ruby, the names on it, everything, so there's so much that needs to be surfaced in that area that is so covered under ice that I think at one time it was tropical. I do. And once that surfaces of everything that's there, like I said, I think we've done a flip. I think we've done the flip, and I think we're not where we think we are. And I think that they are above us in some way. That's the way I feel about this. And because
that's wild.
Because they said everything's in a plate, it moves at certain times, it resurfaces at certain times. So it really is coming to a process with that. And so you're going to see stuff that was hidden for years and years and years and years. And that's the thing. If you're seeing them start to dig in your area, and you're seeing, all these government or state people, and they don't want you around there, that's when you want to get that phone out and start paying attention what they're digging out of that ground, because it's probably something that's been down there for a long time.
There's some places right here in the Grand Canyon that
Mm-hmm.
they blocked off and wouldn't let anybody, so that you just know
So
if they
they
blocked
said
it
on
off
this
and won't let
one,
anybody there. Have you ever
the
looked there?
Grand Canyon used to be this, and that's why it was red.
Really?
And I was
didn't
like,
know that.
what? They're like, yes.
Way up in Antarctica?
No, that
wait a
it
minute.
used to be the ruby, as red as the ruby, and that's why it was so red. And so I was like, and they're, and the reference they use, it wasn't just gold and silver that the aliens were after. It was never just that. Don't you know that you can get on several planets? And so that made me think about things, But of course, when I never wanted to go up and get this information. I was trying to get other information, and then they just threw this at me. That's what was weird about it. I wasn't looking for it.
Wow. Have you ever remote viewed or looked at the in the Grand Canyon area now that they have blocked where there's an entrance, and obviously the entrance is like in the middle of the way up. So at one time, either there was a water level, or something.
Have I done it? No. Have I think that's familiar to what I'm seeing in Antarctica? Yes.
Interesting.
So, and then do I think they're going to show that publicly for a while? I think eventually they will. But like I said, that's why you need to ask yourself, are we on the top or are we on the bottom? Well, yeah. Starting to wonder. Starting to wonder.
Really? Well, let me see what else. What about the what's the name of that other fault line in America? Do you see any problems with that at any point? Madrid, that's the name of it. Madrid.
Where's that at?
It's more close. It's closer to the middle heartland more, but it's near the Mississippi River too. It went off in the 1800s and made the Mississippi River run up opposite way that it did. But anyway,
if I looked at that, the first thing as you're looking at it, I'm just thinking, to me, it'd be like, what's coming to the surface of it? That's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you're saying that, and the first thing I'm thinking, what is coming up to the surface of it that it's blowing its way up? That's the whole thing. When there's cities that you look on the surface of it, and then all of a sudden you see that they were built way down in the ground. I'm telling you, everything is surfacing.
Yeah.
And that's why they're saying everything's going to surface, and that's what we're happening. So don't jump to conclusions that it's just an earthquake. I would tell you that's the first thing I would be looking at. I would, earthquake, but water's going to surface some.
No, with this rising of the flooding that you're talking about, where's that water coming from?
Inner Earth.
Inner Earth? Okay.
There's more water in the inner Earth than there is on the outer.
Isn't that interesting?
Go back to the history books and past the 1950s, I'm telling you. Go to your libraries. If they'll pull those dusty books out for you.
What somebody's asking, what do you think the crystal is in Antarctica that you saw?
They told me that this And you can look at it. I mean, I have it in my groups. I gave the location. I give the location up left and right to people, and they're so you have cold and hot and earthquake, and they're just showing me that that's how this accumulated, and then it has a frequency in it, and then it has value, and those are the two things that they showed me.
Interesting. Cool.
So I would definitely say if they find anything in the Grand Canyon, I guarantee you it's going to be familiar to that. This is how you can't get to Antarctica and walk up to it, but you sure can see it from Google.
That's true. It's true.
Yeah, and I mean I've already shown
Why do they
those.
keep people from going there in the first place? What's the big deal? They're obviously hiding something.
Land.
A lot of it. Oh, somebody says that the link doesn't work all the time, I guess. The Google Earth link would not work. Tried it several times.
Well, yeah, when we put it out there, I'm sure there's a lot, and then as soon as they discover something, take it. But I have pictures of it. We have pictures of it where it was on Google and everything. They can, if someone just wanted to see it, I can send them the pictures, the location and everything. Yeah. So, yeah.
All right. Well, do you have any inkling about what might happen going forward politically?
I think everything is happening at 2 a.m. in the morning. Every minute is changing. So I'm not afraid of what's going on. I was more afraid 2 years ago, but I'm not now. So, like I said, you're going to know your air is cleaner by gardening this season, seeing your fruits change, the air change. I think that the chemtrails are cleaning everything up.
Are you getting that too now?
I've been getting that for 6 months. I've been telling people for 6 months. No, that's happen. I've been telling people for 6 months.
And your guides told you that?
Yes.
So that came from above. Okay.
Yeah. Because no alien wants to get in this world and go, I don't want any of that yucky stuff on us. So you better clear that up before we even come down there.
I can't say I blame them. That's funny.
Yeah. So, so the only thing that I tell you is don't get into the anxiety of what you're seeing in a 3D view.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're in a 4D process now, and there's more strength behind that. You're looking at a stage that needs to just fall, you know, and you people keep giving it air and time and saying, just keep it up. It'll keep going. Come on, just keep going. You just need to completely just cut the internet. You guys should be grateful when the internet is just completely severed for a while. It'll be good for humankind.
It actually would be. Yeah, I can see why you would say that. I know people would go through withdrawal for a while.
I know. See, and I am doing readings for Intel because people are like, I just want to do a reading about what you know. So I am doing that through my website and stuff like that too. And then of course normal classes and stuff like that. But you know, I think we're going to see a good summer coming.
What at summer?
A good summer.
Oh, a good summer. Well, yeah, that's good.
So
people need something good for a change. They really, people are just getting worn out. I mean, I read some comments from people. It's like, I just don't even care anymore. You know, I don't even want to know, you know, things like that. And that's
right.
Not good either.
No, that's not good. Mankind can only take so much.
Oh, somebody's asking if we lose the internet, will we lose electricity as well?
No, it'll be rolling.
Well, it's my understanding that the internet needs to be changed over anyway, because this is the cabal's internet.
Yeah, I think that's already in the works. That's already in the works.
That's what I thought.
A rolling outage will tell you. And if you see in the democratic cities that it's out for a long time, then you'll understand.
Somebody's about tribunals. Do you get any information about that? Is that happening?
Those are constant. Those are
But really-
hourly. Those are secondly. I mean, they're just everybody's dead.
Everybody's dead.
Just saying.
Executed? No. Okay. Well, when they show the movies of the confessions and so on, people will be shocked if they go through.
They won't watch them. I'm telling you.
That's
Nope,
true.
not true.
Well,
That is a lie. That is not happening.
Yeah, that's probably true. But you know what? If they keep seeing the same thing over and over and over again, they'll almost be forced to watch some of it. If there's nothing else, you can only get something else.
The other thing I did want to tell you, the Spirit was saying, what entertains the human mind will change. We won't, as we go into this new energy, we do not need to be entertained anymore.
That was their way to distract us from things that really matter.
Everything. We don't need the sports. We don't need the competition. We don't need to be, our mind does not need to be fulfilled with other stuff anymore. All that's going to go away. And your soul is going to be so entwined and wanting to learn new things, to be evolving into these new technologies and new possibilities and unlimited situations. That is not going to suffice your mindset no more. All that's going to die.
And that's going to be wonderful because for the first time in people's lives, they will be able to be creative.
Yeah, they don't have to go to Disneyland anymore or any of those pedophile places. So it's going to be gone, and it's not going to cost you money to do it. So the process of entertainment, how you look at what you occupy your mind with, the internet, movies, all that stuff, it's going to change what you need inside. That's going to fulfill those needs. That's the thing that's changing. And it's a hard thing to see that, but it's true. It's true.
That's true. Yeah. Someone's stating that they think waiting to release a new internet to the public when quantum comes along, because I think it's connected to the quantum financial system.
Well, it's a smart internet is what I would call it.
Yeah, it's not it doesn't have all the deceptive stuff.
Yeah, and the higher conscience.
Higher consciousness. Oh yeah, and they don't censor it either,
Right.
I bet. I mean, yeah.
No.
Okay. Was there anything else, Jenny? Or
No, I think that's it. I think we covered some subjects and stuff like that. So, and I'll let you know when other stuff is coming. And I still have a channel on Telegram and Signal.
Oh, okay. Signal. You know what I have? I have a channel on Telegram too. I haven't done much on Signal yet. It seems like there's so many different platforms. I can't keep up with them all. But anyway, so thank you everyone for listening, and thank you for being here. And this is a listener supported chat. Can help. I would appreciate it immensely. And
stay in the light. Stay in the light.
Stay in the light. Yes, definitely stay in the light. And thank you. So we'll see you again soon when Jenny and I decide to do this again. Thank you.
Okay.
And we will. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
We have found our way. It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are, and like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and dreamers. We are restless believers. Stronger than ever. Never say never. Don't look back now. control our fate. Destiny awaits. We are all the actors in the stories we create. Hope will be our guide. We'll no longer hide. When we roll like thunder, feel the wonder from inside. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show